to Alastair Eats Food, the podcast. All right. This week on the podcast, we have my good buddy Hampton Hambone Murray, as well as my co-host with the most, John Deering. John King Under the Mountain Deering. At Hampton's suggestion, we went to Pi 95 off of King Street, right there in Riverside of Jacksonville. It is a wonderful establishment. There was a nice little courtyard we were able to record in the back, and man, we enjoyed their Neapolitan style pizza. Neapolitan typically isn't my style pizza, and this time they really turned me on. So in the future, if I want Neapolitan style pizza, I'll be going to King Street and getting it from Pi 95. This conversation with Hampton and John was a really good one. We speak about John's car club days. We talk about Hampton being cousins with everybody. We even talk about John finding Meth Treehouses in Middleburg. Still kind of finding the format for this thing, but here we are at Pi 95.
Pull that menu up.
All right, we're gonna pull this menu up.
I tell you, the first time, and I had never had his pizza before, so when he opened this place, anytime I go to a new pizza place, just like a new burger place, I go basic. Just start right with the basic, because if they don't have good dough, good sauce, good cheese,
oh yeah, I feel the
rest,
same
you
way.
can put all the, you can put all the lipstick you want on it, but it's still going to be a pig.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like we need to get like the basic situation, just a basic cheese pepperoni pizza, and then we need to also. What's that?
No.
Too.
I'm immersed in this menu.
John's so quiet. He's so quiet.
I'm definitely doing the meatball. I've been thinking about it all day. I'm like,
well, you can have some of my pizza and I can try your meatballs.
Absolutely. I'm down with that.
Do that Bianca.
You want to do the Bianca?
Yeah.
So we'll do a regular pepperoni and a Bianca pizza.
I'll get the
meatballs.
Oh, show.
What else? Do we need anything else?
I don't know if we need anything else from that. You're going to be surprised how much food it actually is.
Well, yeah, I think that's going to be the deal then. We're going to have to go with the... Man, there's so many good things on this list.
Yeah. Like Evan said, try the prawns, and I'm like, oh my God, but I didn't come here for prawns.
The
I came
carnivore
here for a pizza,
man.
That's all the meats.
Yeah, I think we need to get the carnivore, and then we need to get the other one.
Bianca.
Carnivore and the Bianca.
At this point, we went to order our food. It started downpouring. There was not supposed to be rain anywhere. We weren't even picking it up on our radar. We had about 25 to 30 minutes of great conversation while waiting for our food that I never hit record for. Luckily, it just adds something else to give me shit about during the podcast, and it's, no harm, no foul. We lose a little bit of good info on Hampton's background, but not too much before we realized that the mistake had been made. Also, it made it so we didn't have to deal with much of the rain when we came back and actually hit record. I'm a rookie podcaster, and mics just don't work if they're not on.
Well, we just got our pizza. We bullshitted about all sorts of great stuff.
And
your
it wasn't...
man here. Your man here. I'm going to blame it on myself.
Where's the audio producer?
Yeah. See, that's what we're supposed to have, is somebody that pays attention to this bullshit. Yeah, the rain delay kind of fucked us all up. Now we're going to have to order a lot more food.
Try that meatball.
Do that fucking meatball.
Is that meatball all right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There ain't nothing wrong with the meatball.
So Evan Erickson's got the real thing going on right here.
Yeah. And, you can venture out and try specials, and undoubtedly they're going to be spectacular. But it's hard to pass up when you know consistently you're going to get just a real good dough, sauce, pie. You get a little bit of char, you get a little bit of smoke. The meatballs are always fire. So it's kind of hard. You're hard to make that decision to pass it up, unless you live right across the street and you can come here every day.
Yeah, like Hampton.
Right. So in that instance, yeah, you come and try everything all the time.
So you've been a cook too, right?
I worked most of my professional life in the restaurant industry. And when I say most of it, I mean most of it. I started when I was like 14 years old as a host in a Cedar River Seafood down at Jack's Beach.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah. And so I've done a little bit of everything in the restaurant industry, but I really have spent most I had spent most of the career in the kitchens.
John's taking some of that carnivore pizza. So if you've missed out because we didn't hit record because I'm a jackass, I'm gonna act like it's my new co-host John Deering's fault, but it's not. It's my fault.
It's the same co-host. Different time frame.
Yeah.
Flash forward 32 minutes.
I'm expecting too much out of him for the beginning of his tenure here.
If I would have known I was supposed to look for a certain thing on that thing, I might have went, hey man,
I can't see it.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that John's probably just pissed off at me that I didn't take him to the last episode where we went and got ourselves some tattoos and shit. John's like, you didn't bring us fucking for the tattoos. I'm not going to tell you that you're not recording, you fucking dumbass.
I'm one of those people. I'm the same way, John. You go, hey, we're just going to hop in the truck and go get a sandwich and get a tattoo. I'm like, okay. Yeah,
All right.
I might do the gumball machine and get whatever. Who knows?
See, and
I've done it a bunch.
You got to think it through and have to have an idea behind it.
So I was telling Hampton this in the car on the way here. My Uncle Blaine was telling you and I about the whole how he had two months. If he still wants the tattoo in 2 months, he gets it. If he doesn't, then he doesn't get it, and he's never got a tattoo.
No way to get a tattoo, is it?
No.
It'll never happen. So that's the one I just got on Sunday. I'm going to see if he can figure it out. That's a pie.
See the
sign,
pie.
right? And that's a can of. It's a
John's not Southern enough for this.
pecan.
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
My daddy would be proud.
Awesome.
I got it, literally, I thought of it, and I got it, and I was like, whatever, because I know if there's one person on the planet that's going to laugh, it'll be my brother. He'll see it, get it, and
That's
laugh
pretty
at
good.
it. And everybody else, double deuces. But once you explain it to somebody...
Yeah, as soon as you explained it a little bit, my problem was I thought you were getting it to cover up the pie tattoo, so the pie thing was never in my mind when I was looking at it.
Right.
I was kind of like, nah, but... Then as soon as you said pecan pie, I'm like, oh, dumb shit.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I was like, I remember that old vegetable company back in the day.
Sid wanted me to get... Sid from Applebee's wanted me to get it a little bit farther up my thigh, because it sits down here, but she wanted to get it way up here.
Oh, it's on your thigh?
Yeah.
Is that why you can't show it? You just show me pictures? It's too close to the...
Nobody
kids?
needs to see the old Mella.
Okay.
I got to pull my pants down to show it to you. But she wanted me to get it way up high, so that I could be like, hey, you want to see my pecan?
Oh, your pecan pie.
And then go to pull my pant leg up,
Yeah.
and it's a tattoo.
Yeah. You're a tattoo artist as a woman?
I've never been tattooed by a woman. Sid is the bartender over at Applebee's.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Over by the house.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. I'm not.
I don't
opposed to
remember
it,
that well because the only time I ever went to the Applebee's is when I was shit hammered drunk before I quit drinking.
Yeah.
So I don't really. I remember you introducing me to people and then being really nice, but I don't remember names or.
It's times.
I know Steve. I'm sure Steve's still the regular.
Oh yeah, Steve's still around.
Yeah.
Steve's my little brother, man. I got to watch out for him, and he
love it.
watches out for me. Kind of keep tabs on each other, keep each other out of harm's way for the most part.
I've had a couple women tattoo me. First person that tattooed me was a woman.
That's the way to start. A woman's touch.
And then I had a woman, well, she was a girl at the time, but she just she just got a tattoo gun and wanted to do tattoos. So she came over to my house and did this tattoo on me, and then go on to be a badass tattoo artist. Now she's a fucking professional wrestler, like
Oh shit!
Yeah, there you go.
Lindsay Snow. You ever heard of her?
For some reason, it sounds familiar, but
she's-
That's the one you and Jackie were talking about on
Yeah.
the way down to DeLand the other
yeah,
night.
she's a wild one.
oh shit!
Yeah, well, that's awesome, man. I like it.
Yeah, there's a couple of ladies that I can't recall their names that I've seen their stuff posted up on social media from time to time, and my mom had drawn something a little sketchy, like dancing flower kind of thing, and ballpoint pen. It's kind of cool looking, and she's like, if you ever get another tattoo, you've got to get this one. Every tattoo artist I've shown it to have all been dudes, and they're all like, nope, there's no way we can do that because we can't get the lines right. And I'm like, that's one of those ones that has to be done by a lady.
By
Because
somebody.
I tell them, my mom drew this.
Yeah.
The ladies will be like, yeah, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I will figure out a way to make it look
Yeah.
like that.
Dudes are too worried about ruining your mom's beautiful artwork.
Right.
That's what it is. They're like, yo, I got a heavy hand for that, son.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want your mama to see that tattoo after I'm done with it.
My folks lose their mind. I'm 53 years old. my dad, when he sees this one, and he didn't have to see this one. I feel better showing him this one because he'll laugh because he loves pecan pie too.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that's how it goes, man. Yeah, well, Chip just said, hey, man, I got a day planned out for us. We're going to go to Paladar for brunch. We're going to go get tattoos by my buddy Travis at Stay True Tattoo.
Yeah, so I'm stealing a slice of that
And then
pizza.
we're going to, you can have all the slices you want, dude. This is for everybody. And John's already hawking all your meatballs. I saw him go there for
I had
round
3/4
two.
of a meatball.
Yeah, well, take the whole fucking
other
meatball.
quarter.
If you're going to eat 3/4 of the meatball, eat the whole meatball, John.
Who are you leaving a quarter of a meatball for?
Just later time.
Yeah, well,
Later time.
he knows that we got joints to smoke, so he wants to make sure he has at least one corner of a meatball, a corner of a meatball.
Crescent.
Well,
A crescent.
the rain abated.
Send me a crescent of that meatball, baby.
Yeah,
I got a wet spot on my shoulder, but I'm
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I mean, I guess we weren't recording the whole time the rain was happening anyway, so did we miss all the talk about the Menorcan shit?
Yeah,
Where does your
yeah.
family come from? Hampton, how long's your family
Let's
been here?
start
from the
over
beginning.
from the beginning.
Yeah, so now we know that he's related to the Michlers, so we know that.
You know, we missed the
And
whole
he was
part.
impressed that I said it right.
No, yes, that's
Yeah,
impressive.
exactly.
90% of the time,
Yeah.
most people go, "What's that place down there in Palm Rouge? Mickler?"
I still call the beach Michlers, but anytime I refer to the family, I say Michler because I read the whole story about how it's Michler and how it pisses locals off when you call them Michlers.
Yep.
So.
But again, I'll reiterate: if somebody had been recording, we would have had the
Oh
discussion.
man, yeah, hit me with it.
It's okay to call it Mickler's at the Landing because that is not Crossroads. It's a bastardization of what Crossroads was when I was a kid, and my mom's mom used to tell us about going to Crossroads when she was a kid, and they lived in Live Oak. So that's how long Crossroads has been there, and it's been Michler's. It was Michler's Cutoff.
Yeah.
They used to call it Crossroads, Michler's Cutoff. So what they put up there is monstrosity in my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I would be mad too.
So call it Michler's.
Chip and I went into this whole thing talking about it because he was talking about how he's been here since he was 12. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing he was 12 in 96 or something like that is when he came down. My mom moved here in 94. And the place is just, Old St. Augustine Road used to be 2 lanes the whole way down. I remember when a lot of those roads back on, like going down to all the way Palm Valley, all the way to Michler's was 2 lanes. Palm Valley Road and the drawbridge. We talked about
the old
that.
drawbridge.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then-
that's all so crazy now.
Yeah. But just watching all these places like plantation homes and such like that just get annihilated, and they put in all these $350,000 single family homes that all look the same. Everybody's driving the same Prius. Everybody's got the same trash can,
Same
and
dog.
recycling can.
Don't
Everybody's
have a
got the
purple
same labradoodle hanging out.
Yeah. And that's what it is, tiny box, you know. In some cases down there, big giant boxes, but it's the exact same
It's
box.
so crazy. You see it on Loretto Road. They're going through it right now where they're trying to rezone where that plantation home is on Loretto right there between Old St. Augustine and San Jose. Mm-hmm. They're trying to rezone that so developers can buy that shit and turn it into a
Well,
subdivision.
where's the, on Old St. Augustine Road, across from the I forget what church it is right there. It's Frenchy Boulevard. Mm-hmm. It's the lady that had the French Bulldog facility there where she raised French Bulldogs. It's a big piece of property. They're doing the exact same thing. They're going to dump in some apartments. They're going to dump in whatever. And I mean, when I was a kid in '86, I was 14, 15, 16 years old. During those years, all I could do was ride a bicycle from Townhomes of Windermere and go fishing up and down Old St. Augustine Road because there's always good ponds. There always were good bass ponds to go fish. You wouldn't recognize it now. That was all woods.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Whitney, the old Bryce Alastair band drummer, he came from when he was a kid, right there, over there by Crown Point and Huntington Forest and stuff like that.
The old sugar mill.
Yeah.
Sugar mill condos.
Yep. Those were brand new at the time, and that's where him and his dad lived, or something like that. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, we used to have, it was all woods back there. We had forts and everything back there. That was our stomping grounds. And now you grow up, and it's all homes now. You know,
it's amazing how fast it's grown.
It's just crazy.
But you and I talked about it coming across the bridge about how Jacksonville being the largest little small town out there, and how once people kind of get the flavor for it and kind of really understand what being a Jacksonvillian really is, they kind of get it.
Yeah,
they don't go away.
Yeah, they stay.
We can't shoo them away.
No, they're drawn to. Yeah, you can't shoo me away.
No, I mean, it's like, look.
Hampton was talking about how bad he wanted to get rid of me.
I'm like, get out of here, Bryce.
And I told him. I said, I'll gladly leave, but my band's always going to be based here. So even if I'm gone, my band's going to be in some warehouse in this place.
I need you to have a hunt camp in Michigan somewhere so I have a place to go.
I do. I do have one. But at least for now, we're trying to keep it around. That's why I was talking about the pepper business with you, because we need to do something to make that place. Yeah.
Right. So, here we have our plants could go in the ground. They went in the ground a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You ain't doing it up there.
No,
and
we
could go all the way through close to December.
Yeah.
And still be.
And you guys harvest that whole time, or you harvest at the end?
No, we pick them. They get picked as need picking.
Yeah.
As long as you keep picking them, they'll keep throwing flowers up. Bees will keep pollinating them.
Yeah, see, we don't need a shit ton. We just need enough to make a few hot sauce bottles and to keep the business going, to keep the agricultural tax situation going. And a lot of it, to me, is the fact that you can also, as you're picking these peppers, you can freeze them and stuff like that to keep them.
100%.
Yeah, at least if you're just making hot sauce out of them.
Yeah, for hot sauce purposes, absolutely.
I was thinking about growing the red sienna habanero pepper is what we're looking for, because I want something with heat, but I want something with good flavor. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like a daddle. Daddles are heat and good flavor.
Right. Daddles have a real high sugar content, and they don't do well with cold. That first
I wouldn't do daddle up there. No.
They're all in kind of that same family.
Yeah.
The Scotch bonnet, all the habanero lines, so the chocolate habaneros, all the habaneros. Daddle peppers, and there's another pepper called the fatali. It's a North African pepper, I believe, and it kind of looks like a big giant daddle pepper. It's not as sweet. It's a little bit hotter. And we actually, in the beginning, a million years ago, looked at a couple of different, trying to get something with a bigger yield to make it more, where it made more sense. But then it was just taking Meemaw's recipe and dumping on it and not making it Meemaw's recipe anymore. You know what I mean? By using a pepper that wasn't a true daddle pepper, even though it's a cousin, but it's not a daddle pepper. So that went by the wayside. But that's a good pepper to look at because it's pretty hearty.
Yeah, that's what.
In that, it's got a good flavor profile. It's good and hot, and seeds are pretty available. You would probably have to start the seeds. I don't know if you find a nursery that could start them for you.
Well, see, that's what the habaneros that I want to get are already available at a place that's within an hour of my farm in Michigan as seedlings.
Right.
And so we get them as seedlings.
And then it's just
transplant, 100 some plants or whatever, however you want to do it. Because we don't need much. We just need enough to create the business out of it. We've got to go through a whole process with the Michigan, with the state about, making sure, testing the acidity, make sure it has shelf life and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely done my research on it. It's definitely something that we're going for.
Yeah, and it's a whole process. But once it's done, and you go through that thing, then it's just a matter of growing peppers. Once you have your process down, undoubtedly there's probably a co-packer somewhere that you can take, depending on how much you're looking to make. If you're just going to make, 10 gallons a year or something, just enough to keep it on the shelf, and maybe sell at a home and patio show every once in a while, just so you can show some commercial sales.
I like it.
Then you may need to look at a co-packer to so that it's certified, because the FDA and USDA then get involved as soon as you know you're selling. Now, if you're just doing small batch and selling on the side of the road,
that's not what we're doing.
Jams and jellies and stuff like that.
We don't want it to be too big, but it's got to be big enough to get those tax breaks and such a way, all that kind of stuff. So that's the main thing with all that stuff.
And it's been interesting. I've all but really stepped away from it, and it was one of those things where I still do, whatever. And like I said, they'll call me and go, "Hey, we want to do this, we want to do that," and I'm always open to helping. And I try and be available to where I can be. But I ain't going down there potting plants. I'm not going down there doing all the labor, doing all that.
And then there's sometimes just too many cooks in the kitchen. It's like you got to have one guy that is kind of steering the ship, and then a couple guys that want to help with that.
And that kind of that kind of was because early on I had kind of an idea of what. And really, the initial input of that was kind of weird, because it was a Christmas present to my brother.
Yeah.
I was down at the Flyest Irish Pub. I had a friend of mine from there had given me a 1.5-pound bag of daddles out of her garden.
Yeah.
And Ralph let me use his kitchen. And I ran everybody in happy hour out of the Flyest kitchen because I was making this hot sauce.
Yeah, you're making the hot sauce inside, indoors.
And I measured everything, wrote everything down, true recipe style, and went, give this to Scott for Christmas. And so I had the recipe, and I got some more peppers, and for Christmas, he and I sat down, got in the kitchen, and went through the process and made the sauce. And now it's, it was in Tijuana Flats, was the first big hit.
Yeah.
They bought
800
gallons before we had enough plants to do 800 gallons. We had no idea.
That's awesome.
That scared the crap out of all of us.
That's the way to go, dude.
And now Four Rivers has it, and they've done a great job. Just growing the business and really just grinding it. Yeah. They were down there all week transplanting plants and doing the whole thing.
Yeah, he was talking to you on the phone about it. That's what I was telling you. I was like, I need to get down there just to see what's going on with it.
Yeah.
But
and any time, we've talked about.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be competition to anyone. I'm just trying to get my tax breaks, my agricultural tax breaks. I'm trying to keep my farm, damn it.
And that's no problem. They've actually talked about on several occasions, and trying to get some music down and doing a cookout, and because they do an open house. They just did it 2 weeks ago, where they sell X number of plants. So they take pre-sales and they invite the public to come down and see the operation and do the thing.
That's
and
cool.
For years they've talked about.
And this is Mayhem Daddle Pepper Company, right?
It's Menorcan Mayhem Gourmet Products.
Yeah, Mayhem Gourmet.
I believe
Products.
that's what they're calling it.
But the name of the main.
It's on that. It's
Yeah.
used to be Menorcan Mayhem. I have to look it up now.
Oh my God!
I know.
Look at him. He doesn't even
know.
know.
It's not pecan pie.
Another soda?
Much.
Yeah, sure, man.
Do you need another beer?
Yeah, I'll drink a
little
tiny PBR.
I guess
what is that?
we'll save the people the hassle of us smoking joints on their back porch. we like this place. We want to be able to come back, so we'll just not smoke joints on the courtyard at the moment.
I mean, I don't know that anybody's. Everybody,
until they listen
at
to
least
the
they're not
podcast.
Smoking. Probably somebody's laying in a bush somewhere smoking a rock.
Until Evan listens to the podcast and like, those fuckers are smoking on my back porch.
Yeah. The first thing he said
and
when I told him what we were
never will you do a podcast on my back porch again.
I texted him. I was like, hey, here's the deal. Blah blah blah. And he's like, no music. And I'm like, we're not going to have any music.
Yeah, we don't.
Like, the guys aren't going to come set up and play music. We're just going to shoot the shit.
No.
He's like, no music. I'm like, bro.
I know you got long hair. I know they got long hair. No hippie music shit going on.
Goddamn hippies. Yeah. First off, if you played in here, you wouldn't have to plug in because it would just be freaking.
You could go sit in that corner right there
and just blast everybody.
Yeah, you'd be all right, buddy.
Yep. But apparently, the guy that owns the building is like, no live music.
So your great grandfather,
William Michler.
Is he the one that came? Where'd the Menorcans come from?
So yes and no.
Which ones? Yeah,
right. So the Michlers were married into the Menorcan bloodline by. So William Michler was not a Menorcan.
Okay.
But his wife was Menorcan, right? And his second wife.
And which puts it into your bloodline.
Correct. So there's a Menorcan Facebook page on there that talks about the lineage, because when we first joined the Facebook page, people didn't associate that name at all with Menorcans at all until some of the old heads were like, hold on, wait a minute. And then they rattled off the whole genealogy of it, and then everybody shut up about it. And me and my brother laughed about it. We were like,
well, the funny thing
they're
about
trying
it,
to tell us we're not Menorcan. I'm like,
a lot of times,
sure.
yeah, you know, we noticed.
Meemaw never lied to us at once.
My grandfather,
except for about Santa Claus.
My grandfather had a grandmother that was last name Eagle, and she was straight up Native American. You could tell, and all this stuff. But since my great grandma Anna, bless her soul, was Irish, and you know, we're not going to call my great grandma Anna racist or anything like that, but you know, for some reason she was always trying to hide that kind of information from people. And then so when we started doing research into our family and stuff like that, and found, you know, that Grandma Eagle, you know, was Native American. And that's because my grandpa always had that dark complexion. You didn't meet my grandpa, but you've seen pictures of him, where he's got like the darker complexion, dark hair, you know, which the Brown family, all of us have the dark hair and stuff like that. And we're like northern, you know, England kind of, Scottish, all that shit. That's where our bloodline comes from. We even have a coat of arms and stuff that we found, but.
For sure. But
yeah, I mean, like, it's just crazy when you look into that shit and you start seeing, you know, oh, why did they hide this? Why wasn't this available information to me until I got this DNA test? And then you start thinking about it, and you're like, well, the Irish weren't very fond of these people, and these people weren't very fond of these people, and blah 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 blah.
Yep.
I know that my great grandma Anna had a problem with my grandfather and my grandmother's marriage because my grandmother was Catholic and they were Protestant, you know, so
that's that northern southern Ireland thing.
They had the straight mother-in-law thing going on, and my father was a pretty successful man, and so his mother lived to see that success and stuff. But it was always funny because my grandma, I remember her just getting stressed out every time she knew that Grandma Anna was coming to town. Because Grandma Anna got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. She curled her hair. They were farmers, you know. That's when my grandpa was raised on a farm in the, you know, late 1930s, early 1940s. And so she woke up in the morning. She would have her hair in the curlers before anybody else got up. She was already dressed to the nines, and you know, the girls' pantsuits or whatever you call those things. And she would do her jogging and stuff. She would get dressed up just to go jogging, all that kind of shit. So like people like my grandmother who hung out in her nightgown all day, you know, that puts them on edge when Grandma Anna comes along and she's up at, you know, 6:30, already got her curlers out and fucking makeup done, and, you know, already done 5 miles and shit, and got back and got all dressed. Yep. And Grandma wants to be in her nightgown and doesn't want to wake up until 9:30 or 10 o'clock. You know.
Yep.
It was. I remember her getting. It was kind of like tax season, because since my grandfather was self-employed, my grandmother. I remember come tax season, we weren't even allowed around the house. Like it was like keep those kids away from the fucking house. It's
got too much
season.
work.
Yeah, you know. And it's the same thing with when my great grandma would come to town. They'd be like, "Oh shit, you know something's about to happen. Grandma's getting a little uptight." But it's good stuff. So that's crazy that you've been able to follow that genealogy, and that makes you be like the local. You know, you are the consummate Florida local.
I mean, I come from a long line of Florida men for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate to have that kind of family.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know,
it's awesome to be able to trace your shit back like that. Like
we put our crazy on the porch and show it off, and and nobody's bashful about it.
I love it.
It does make all of ours, like all the cousins, all the parents kind of go, the ones that are still with us, you know, like, oh God. In Jacksonville, as long as my family has, and as long as I've been alive for too long, our cousin network is pretty freaking solid.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, it's pretty.
That's what I was saying.
Solid.
You got to take IDs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can go to St. Augustine and bump into a cousin. I can come over here and bump into a cousin. I mean, it's really like when you go somewhere, sometimes it's like a class reunion and a family reunion at the same time, because you got people that you went to school with.
Yeah.
Because I went to small schools, and then their cousins over here, and they went to the same school, and it's like, oh shit, your entire families right
That's
there.
how my percussionist, Jason Morrison, he's the same way, man. Like, he's one of those guys that's just related to everybody, where he's like, man, luckily I made sure I did my research, so I kind of knew who I was related to as I was coming up, because he's related to these guys, the Hartleys, he's related to the Prices, all those roads that you see named after. You know, like, it's like... And those guys, they're related to everybody, and it goes through different ethnicities. I can't be related to you. It's like, no, you could be.
Old Head Duval County never played like that. I mean, there was some problems in the 50s and whatever. When my father was a policeman, there was some serious issues, but never, in my experience, I mean, the way my dad's side of the family kind of handled everything. That was never an issue. Yeah, we never had. It was like, whatever, you are who you are. Come on down. Yeah. And I mean, there was always some funny sayings that happened at family reunions about, you know, this, that, or the other thing. But it was always in jest. We never really had that bias.
No, see, I didn't have to deal with that either. I never heard my father or my grandfather ever use the N-word ever. Yeah. And then I came down here, and some of these people down here that when they get comfortable with you, like your neighbor next door, that old man next door, that old white dude next door, they'll end up dropping an N-bomb. And they usually don't do it. They're not trying to do it it's
part of their language.
It's just part of their language. Yeah. And it's like... Man, and like right away they notice, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, did I offend you?" I'm like, and you know, I just don't use that word for anything because I mean, first of all, it was never a thing when I was growing up. My father didn't use it, my grandfather didn't use it.
Yeah, no, never really, it never was really a word.
Yeah,
and it's funny because, you know, graduating from a Catholic high school, we had this book or we had a vocabulary class, part of English, and it was called Word Power.
Yeah.
And word power was like we had to go through X number of words a day and learn the definition and blah blah blah, and then we'd get kind of drilled on it by Frank Smith, God rest his soul. But there was a specific word in there that meant nothing but basically miserly.
Yeah, yeah.
And that particular word had that connotation to the N word.
Yeah.
And they took it out of it. It had nothing to do with any other thing than it meant to do with somebody that likes prudent with their money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, wait a minute. What's going on here?
But things are wild, though, man. John, your family, your dad comes from Hawaii, right? Or is he born in Hawaii or something?
He was born in Hawaii.
Was he like a Navy brat or something? Mm-hmm. Oh, he was a Navy brat. Okay. So that makes more sense there. So where would you trace your lineage to, really? Where do they consider you guys from, or you guys are just so all over the place?
So my grandma on my mom's side is from she's Danish. Mm-hmm. So like that's like really, really white.
Yeah.
Extremely white. That's why he looks like a Viking.
Yeah. That's why he looks like
a Viking. That's where Viking comes from.
I took Gimli from Lord of the Rings, the dwarf, and I photoshopped John's face onto it.
Pretty funny.
I always do this random shit and I put it in what I call my spank bank, but it's really it's my promo bank for the band, you know.
Right,
same thing.
But he says same thing. We know what you use it for. But yeah, this is great right here. Let me show you this real quick. You can go back to your story though, John. I'm listening to you. I just got to show Hampton this shit.
Trying to remember what my dad's mom was.
Was it your mom's mom? That's
yeah, she was Danish.
Okay.
Shield maiden.
Yeah, I don't remember what my dad's mom was. Lebanese, that's what it is.
Lebanese. No shit.
Lebanese.
That would really? That makes sense.
That's Lebanese. Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a odd conflagration of ethnicities for sure. Oh, yeah. Danish and Lebanese. Okay.
Yeah. Well, my mom and dad.
And that's how you get a John Deering.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
That came from the army.
Look at this. I'm happy as shit. I'm glad to have him fighting on my side.
Look, hey, you got to be unique.
Look at this shit right here, buddy.
You got to be a mutt.
Yeah.
This is what I call winning right here.
Jesus Christ.
Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that awesome? Yeah.
I wish my beard would grow.
John's like, what are you doing where you're just always sticking my face on shit? But it's because I think about my boys when they're not around me. You know? That's why I'm always steadily fucking with them even when they're not around.
He's going to take videos and put them in the plants over there. You're going to be talking flower with beards.
John was telling me some funny stories. I think I was starting to talk about this, and then I drifted away, which tends to happen.
Was that before or after you forgot to turn the microphone on?
Yeah, I think that was after we turned the microphone back on. I'm still, I'm going to take all the blame for it because I'm the pilot of this ship at the moment, but I do have a co-pilot here today. He's not even facing the thing.
They can't even see it. I'm like, I see a red light. To me, red light means that shit ain't working. That's all I know.
I just expect that all microphones are on.
John,
Yeah,
I try
fair.
to make myself feel better by like giving John 20% of my 100% of the blame, so I get 80% of the blame. He's going to take 20% just to make me feel better, just to knock that edge off.
Solid placation. Solid placation right there. I just need you to feel guilty for a second.
Feel a little guilty, all right, and then be like, "Oh, he forgave me."
You didn't check. Your co-host, you didn't check.
Yeah, well, anyways, what I was getting at, though, is John told me some funny stories. Because, John and I have lived 3 or 4 lives before we ever came into each other's life, which turned into a whole nother life,
Yeah.
But John used to be in car clubs here in Jacksonville. And, John, tell him about the story about, like, the games the car clubs used to play.
So, do you remember all the car clubs around here?
I mean, I was never really into that at all. But I do remember there was a bunch of car clubs, and they'd all be backed in at the Dunkin' Donuts on a Sunday morning, having coffee and donuts and looking at motors. I remember that.
John's like, one of those guys was me.
Yeah, I was definitely
I was one of the guys at Dunkin' Donuts.
We get chased off the first street and everything.
Weren't you a motorcycle mechanic at one point?
Yeah, that was
another
That
life.
was recently.
Yeah, that was a whole nother life.
That was like 2 lives ago.
Yeah, that was 2 lives ago. So, the story he was telling me about the car clubs.
Oh, yeah, so the car club I was in was one of the biggest car clubs at the time as far as how many members were in it. Mm-hmm. But there was probably at least 6-7 other car clubs with a shit ton of people in them. So you're talking a couple thousand people.
Right.
And we do a thing every year where it's like a scavenger hunt. And everybody would every car club would get their list, and you'd go out and have to, by a certain time of the next day, you come back, meet in the woods in a certain spot, which it's not woods anymore, it's all houses. But
with your booty.
Somebody
come back with your
everything
booty.
on the list. And
everything
it's like,
on the list.
You got pictures, like you got to take a picture of, everybody you can fit inside of a portalette, or, however many people you can fit in the side of or inside the back of a cop car.
Right.
Pictures like that. But then there was like the Jaguar, for the car company Jaguar.
Mm-hmm.
They had their big Jaguar that was their logo in front of their.
Yep.
Well, you had to steal that. You had to steal I-95 signs, like the big, massive green signs, tennis court nets, just all kinds of things. And most of the car clubs didn't steal any of that. But one car club came with a big old box truck full of everything. They opened it up, and
we're not saying any names.
Shiny.
John wasn't part of that.
I can't remember
John's
the name of that
He's
car
like,
club.
I can't even remember. This was years ago.
Just happened to know that it
Statute of limitations. It's over. You can't get in trouble for
older
it.
than 7 years. Okay.
Yeah,
way
older than
7
7 years.
They had everything though. Like
no shit.
They opened up the back of their box truck that they rented, and there was a shiny Jaguar, big old green sign bent in there. Like, I mean, it was.
They're like, we're going to get all this shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they won.
They did it.
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah,
I can't remember what the prizes were. It was some kind of money and
you get
a trophy.
$5 and a 6-pack of Busch Light.
In this period of John's life, John drove an S10 that was squatted to the ground.
One of them, one of the things I drove was S10.
On air
airbags.
Could you push a pack of cigarettes or push it down the road with the?
Oh, under it?
Yeah, just with the scoop. Push a pack of smokes down the road.
Yep. He was a straight up lowrider.
That was fun, though.
That's the same thing. We got off the airplane in Flint, and they had. I think it wasn't the 64 Impala. It was like a 62,
it was
66 Impala.
Something like that.
But his is the 64. But he's like, but I would want it with fucking all the airbags in it and all this. And I'm like,
hydraulics on that.
And at the time,
Snoop Dogg style.
Yeah, see?
That's how I want it.
And at this time,
right.
I didn't know that John was part of car clubs. He didn't tell me about this part of his life yet.
Surprise.
I found out about that well after.
Right.
So when I'm at the Waffle House after the show a couple weeks ago, we were at the Waffle House, and he brings up this story, and I'm like super entertained, because he was going deep into it, way deeper than he's going to go on this podcast of it. But he was going in it, and I was like, this all makes sense. This is why you wanted that 6'4" to be like, I was like, this thing's all stock. Look how sweet this thing is. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I want that thing smacked down to the floor. Airbags. I'm like, oh.
Fresh red velvet.
He still didn't tell me. At this point, he still had not told me that he was part of car club. So it's just like, one thing I love about our relationship is that, like, we're so close, but we still don't know all these random things.
Right.
There's so many things you run into, and it's like, why wouldn't you tell me at that point that you were part of car clubs and that you liked to slam? I knew that he had lowriders before.
Right.
But that didn't spark the lowrider car club conversation that we had at Waffle House. But, man.
I mean, that's those are little things about, when you get to know people.
Yeah.
Maybe an eighth of the whole thing, and that's saying that person's pretty wide open and not closed off.
That's exactly
kind of fencing anything off.
Yeah,
and so as you spend more time, people get more comfortable. You start learning those things about people, and it's always fun to kind of go through that over the years.
What y'all think about this Key Bridge situation, man? You see that?
I mean, I
Baltimore?
actually saw it like literally at like 5 o'clock the morning after it happened.
Man,
so I woke up and it was
sad.
there.
It's so sad.
And
I was watching that video.
It's fortunate because if it's going to happen, it happened then.
Yeah.
It was limited. I mean,
literally, you see all those cars go over it,
Mm-hmm.
and then no cars go over it for a minute, and you just see those work lights from the people that perished, unfortunately.
Yep.
You saw those work lights, and then you saw the ship do that second blackout. And they had already, by that point, they had already dropped the anchor. They dropped the anchor.
Yeah, it's too late.
Yeah, they dropped the anchor the first blackout. Well, that's part of the things. When they lose all steering and stuff. That's what all these conspiracy theorists, John's like my in-house conspiracy theorist. Well,
I'm not a...
I did read that you can still steer a ship when the power goes out.
I don't
know about ships.
No, not with that container ship almost reached across that whole damn bay if it was turned parallel with the bridge.
There's no stopping it. There's no steering it. It's just going where it's going.
Supposedly, like what they do in that situation, like what they're taught to do, is like right away when you get power back, your reverse thrusters all you can, and you drop the anchor and you just hope for the best.
Right.
And I'm guessing when they lost power the first time, they dropped that anchor, and then they got the power back, and they probably tried to do something. That's why that ship started turning.
Kind of
started turning.
But
the worst part about that is when it turned, is when it looks like is when it started pointing at the actual pillar that it hit, and as soon as it hit that thing, it was over. You like to hope that a bridge span gets hit and the rest of the bridge will be held up in other places.
That thing crumbled.
No, it came down like something you would do with Legos.
Yeah, man. It was so sad, though, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was just like, fuck, just imagine that shit. And, that's why Grandma wants you to keep that glass breaker in your truck.
Yeah.
That's why,
I got one.
That's why Grandma put that Bible and that glass breaker in your truck, buddy.
Yeah, you can keep a spark plug. That'll work too.
Yeah.
My windshield was already pre-cracked.
Yeah,
so.
It's pre-cracked. I wouldn't recommend going out the windshield.
Yeah.
Try to break that tempered glass out.
I forget what year it was, but the Matthews Bridge got hit, and then the Sunshine Skyway down in Tampa got taken out too. It got hit and it collapsed.
Yeah.
That's why I have a white knuckle fear of bridges, man. I hate bridges, and I live in Jacksonville. Everything's a bridge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
1,700 bridges.
Well, that's the thing too. Is
tighten up and
I would love to say.
like,
I would love to say that the bridges are scary, but then you think about airplanes, and you got that Boeing whistleblower that just got himself suicided, or died in the parking lot at the hearing of this thing that he was.
He had a stroke. It was amazing.
Yeah. I'm not even a conspiracy theorist, and that shit right there makes me think.
People get offed all the time. I mean, it's unfortunate that that's what this world we live in is. So,
it's just crazy, man.
It's don't make eye contact.
Don't fuck with people's money.
Yeah. Don't make eye contact.
As soon as you fuck with the wrong people's money,
you
got problems, man.
Yeah, steer clear of the riffraff and don't make eye contact.
That's it. Just go to the restaurants like my place Pie 95 here. That's kind of off the beaten path. It's just tucked right here on King Street.
I like it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
People can walk right by it, and you know, I've always been kind of one to try and find places like this because I love good food.
Yeah, that's it.
You know,
That's
and
what
you
I'm
and I
looking
have
for.
been to the taco place over there by you
Yeah.
multiple times, and
Yeah,
that's my
Castillo,
favorite taco.
Taqueria and
El
Bakery.
Castillo.
Yeah.
But I've met Evan outside of here before this was even open, and I knew he was a good guy, and I knew he was going to do good things. So as soon as he opened,
So
I was
we
like,
call
we
this
gotta
is
check
the
it out.
Neapolitan style pizza.
yeah, it's a Neapolitan style pie, wood
We
fired.
got the Bianco over there, which is like a white pizza.
Yeah,
Without sauce, of course. It's just a white pizza. You put fucking lemon on it. It's delicious as all hell.
Yes, it is.
It's great. And then we got the carnivore over here, which is got all the meats on it. Looks like chunks of mozzarella.
fresh mozz.
Oh yeah, all the goods.
Yeah, homeboy uses fresh mozz.
And then we got the
fire roasted meatballs, man.
Fire roasted meatballs over there that John likes to eat 3/4 of one meatball and leave you a sliver.
He
sphere.
was the kid that grew up that left half a swallow OJ in the carton.
Well, he
Like,
was a single
It's
child.
not empty.
Yeah, I was a single
Yeah,
child.
he was a single
yeah, so you
child.
definitely did
He
that.
got all of it. He got all of it, which is making me wonder why the fuck he's leaving the sliver. Like, you were a single child. Eat the whole fucking meatball,
Eat
man.
it. Eat it. Drink all the OJ, man. Don't leave a sip.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. So, Hampton, you got any good fun plans for the future? What you doing?
I mean, right now I've been really just kind of focusing on making sure that I'm healthy. I'm
Yeah.
old, and I'm getting older.
You're not old.
Things ain't going to slow down.
I'll let you start calling yourself old once you break 67.
Yeah.
I think once you break
Well,
67,
and
you can start calling yourself old. I'm still not going to call you old until you're like 75,
Right. I
80.
say that in jest because my the common thread is I know old people and I know that I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
But facts are facts. The body does what the body
Yeah.
does as you age, and so
I'm in my 30s and I can feel things changing.
Look.
You start feeling your
Things
shoulders.
hurting.
Your shoulders start being
Yeah.
like, I might give out on you now.
Yeah, I mean,
these
there's
things-
mornings where I have to warm my shoulder up to brush my teeth. I mean, literally,
Yes.
that ain't no joke. That's like, man,
He's
I
like,
gotta
don't
get
laugh
that-
at me, motherfucker.
I got to get that thing just right.
Dude, I feel you. I feel my kids are always losing shit up under their beds, and I hyperextend my shoulder every time I reach up under a bed. I know it. I know it happens every time. I tell myself before I fucking do it
Right.
that it's gonna happen, and I still do it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Every time.
Dude, I've
Hyperextend my
started
shoulder.
just, and I something flashed across a timeline about this dude. So I'm trying to work in some more calisthenics. And they're not easy for me to do because I don't have the same flexibility or capability I used to, but I still try and work them in. One of the things that I saw was pull-up bar and just a dead hang. And you just relax and let your body just kind of, let gravity kind of do its thing. Because I've got bad shoulders.
Yeah.
And it just stretches all that out. And then I do regular shoulder warm-ups before I do anything else.
Yeah.
And I have not had another problem.
I've been
Since I'm
doing-
just doing the straight, just hang for like
Yeah.
30 seconds, just to let it all kind of.
I need to do that. I do that sometimes, but most of the time, I just do a couple little toe touches and fucking twirl back
Get right
and
in.
forth, and then I do 125
He's still in
push-ups.
his 30s, though.
Then I do 125 push-ups, and I'm like, why do my shoulders hurt? Why do my shoulders hurt? With my grip as wide as I possibly can fucking do it.
What do you weigh, like 140? 141. When you
140?
swallow that mouthful, it's 141.
I'm typically like 150 on the nuts. When I was drinking, I was usually like 157.
Yeah.
Now that I don't drink, I usually bounce around from 147 to 152. And I'm lean as fuck right now.
No, you are. You look good,
Yeah,
man.
I'm like
I can
super
tell
lean.
you've been taking care of things. Yeah, you look good. I'm proud
John
to see you
keeps
working
me
out.
just stressed out enough to stay lean.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
But
what
he
John
but he
does.
gives you things to do in your spare time with your spank bank.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I load up my spank bank with John Gimli
He
pictures.
puts it on the ground in front of him while he's doing his 125 push-ups. Puts
Yeah,
it on
exactly.
autoplay. Kind of rolls through the different ones
He's
done.
always calling me a dwarven fucking bastard and shit, and he's like, this whole time he's been spanking it to my dwarven bastardry. But yeah, it's like John of the Seven Kingdoms. And John's the king under the mountain.
We need to get him a warhammer.
Yeah, we do need to get him a
love a
warhammer.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Fucking badass.
Matter
warhammer.
of fact, before we take you to the Renaissance Festival in Michigan, we better get you a
a
warhammer.
warhammer and a
Yeah, 'cause
turkey leg.
I'm gonna invest in the attire to dress him up like Gimli when I take him to the fucking Renaissance Festival. in
Freaking
Michigan.
bearskin skirt.
Dude, the Renaissance Festival we have in Michigan, it's literally a town that stays up all year long, and then there's just a season that, like,
Yeah.
right in the fall time,
Yeah.
between, like, Labor Day and Halloween, they have the Renaissance Festival.
Yeah, I guess there's so my buddy Toby lives outside of Houston, in Waller County, and I guess out there that's out towards Bryan, Texas, and all.
Yep.
They have a big Renaissance, and they do that. I mean,
Yeah,
they go
same
full.
thing where they keep the town up all year. Like down here, they have one in St. Petersburg, and it's owned by the same people that
Good.
own the one.
Good.
There's that.
Good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
No, I mean.
Oh, no,
you
yeah,
still
yeah.
got a full one. Okay.
Yeah, we're just drinking Coke. We're not drinking Pabst Blues. So you drink as much as you want because I'm driving you.
I know, that's
I'll
a
even
beautiful
take you to
thing,
get
it is.
shots after this is done if you
Well,
want me to.
there is we do have to go say goodbye to Miss Selena.
Yes.
Because that's prerequisite to come in this area of
Yeah,
Riverside.
well, prerequisite to come in this area. Plus, she gives us shows and
I was going to
hooks
say
us up with paychecks. Anybody that hooks
like
me
that.
and John up with paychecks, we feel like we need to go say hi to every now and then.
and she's
Like a little box or something?
probably going to eat it all.
I'm actually, we're probably going to eat all this, but I'm
Oh, yeah.
probably going to have to put another order in for my better half before we go.
Yeah, if he comes home empty-handed.
Yeah.
So you're all good.
But,
Thank you.
All right, two things are going to happen at this point. I'm going to go to the bathroom,
okay.
and then I'm going to get a beer,
Okay.
and then if y'all need anything, throw a rock in my direction and let me know what
I
you
think
need.
we're going to be all right. We're going to talk about how bad we want to smoke these joints and
I mean,
how much
just
we still got to
really-
wait because we're not smoking joints back here on the porch. We'll even have this on the
Yeah,
podcast. But
just smoke it right now. Ain't nobody
no, we're not trying to get in trouble. We want to be able to come
The neighbor-
back. I see the cameras right there. There's a camera.
Oh,
right
they'll
there's a
yeah.
camera.
And they'll be like,
Yeah.
this long hair fuckers are
Yeah,
smoking
it's like
weed."
he's like, man,
Hippies.
I told those
Wouldn't
hippies
be the
no
first
music.
time on this. Yeah, no music.
He said no
Look,
music.
Evan was like, just no music.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, bro, we're not.
Yeah.
We're just gonna come shoot the shit.
He thought
eat
we were
some
coming to
food.
record a fucking music video.
Like, no. We're just,
So many people don't understand what podcast. I'm sure Evan does, but a lot of
Yeah,
people
he
don't
does.
understand what podcast. Tom Burrow was like, far out. This thing's awesome. Tom Burrow's an older friend of mine.
Yeah, I know, Tom.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, just click on the link. He's like, you're gonna have to show me how to do that next time.
Funny story about Tom.
Yeah,
So he's a realtor.
yeah.
He works for Middleton Realty.
Okay.
Patrick Middleton is my first cousin.
Of
course. On my mom's side,
Yeah,
of
of course. Because you're related to everybody. Yeah.
Like when I saw that, so my cousin posted something on the family page about, Patrick Middleton.
He's
like-
like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's my cousin.
Everybody's Hampton's cousin. Man,
Trying not to get shot.
Trying not to get shot on the riverside. Don't worry. I don't think that was bullets.
We should do one at Hangar Bay.
Hangar Bay.
Yeah.
That's that place you want to go try. You wanted me
Yeah.
to go try out there.
Chicken,
right?
fried chicken and ramen.
Yeah, I like it.
It's fucking good.
And it's good stuff.
It's fucking good.
So what is it? Is it like? Is that? It's not a chain, right?
No.
No chain.
No.
You know the owner, or have you seen the owner around there?
No, I'm not sure who the owner is. There's a sweet little girl that works the register that I think might have something to do with being the owner
Yeah.
or something like that. But yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah,
But
I like
that's-
that. We'll definitely we'll put that on our list of do it ups. Go check it out. But yeah, having a good co-host is going to be a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
So in the future, the first thing that John's going to do is make sure that this thing's
I'm sitting in
recorded.
front of it.
Yeah, sit in front of it.
Yes.
He's going to be. You're my tech guy at the shows. I need you. Evidently, I need you to be a tech
I know.
guy at the
I don't
podcast
mind.
as well.
I'll do it.
There's my man with his PBR. I'll cheers a Coke to you there, ham bone.
Gentlemen,
I'm gonna cheers a bite of this meatball.
Yeah.
don't leave
how
half the
about
damn
that?
thing sitting there.
No, we're eating all this food,
Yeah,
man.
it's all getting ate.
We have
Gentlemen, much love.
much love to you, my friend.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah, appreciate you coming, man.
That fishing and hunting were
Fishing
my
and hunting.
like being in the woods to me. As much as I love fishing, sit in the woods and back up against a tree, and I can sit right there all day.
Doesn't matter if you see anything or not.
Doesn't matter
I'm
if I
the
see
same
anything
way.
or not.
I'm just comfortable.
I
in the
got to
woods.
get past the first hour or so
Yeah.
because all the noise that you have inside your brain from you don't
Oh,
realize
yeah.
how much background
noisy.
static you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
when you get someplace that's really really
Yeah,
quiet.
you got to get dialed into it.
Your brain is still
Yeah.
hearing that. Yeah, man, the static. You don't
That's why I
understand
love
it.
working on that farm.
Yeah, when you go out to take care of that farm. That's
And you're
one of
out there.
John's things that he does outside of the band is take care of this farm out in Green Cove. He goes
Oh, yeah.
a couple
Middleburg.
times, or Middleburg, yeah.
Oh, right on.
Out there by Penny Farms, way out in the middle.
Yeah.
It's
You're out there by my brother. My brother lives in Middleburg. My dad lives in Keystone.
You know the
Heights.
road, Thunder Road? Mm-hmm. Yeah, every time we
it's
go
on
by it,
Thunder.
I got to do the Bruce Springsteen. Thunder Road!
My brother lives on Raccoon Road.
Oh, yeah.
And they spell it with one C.
Raccoon?
Raccoon.
Raccoon.
You know, like
Oh, yeah.
only in Middleburg.
Only in Middleburg, baby.
Middleburg. Raccoon Road. RAC. Yep. It's an interesting. That's one of the most interesting spots in this area of Florida, in my opinion, just because it's so diametrically opposed to what you think. Like, there's spots where you go, those guys are cooking meth.
Yeah.
And it's right next to a $5 million house on the
Yeah,
lake. Like,
yeah,
literally within a stone's throw, and you go,
Yeah, that's
like wild pigs running down dirt roads, and the neighbor's goat comes and eat your flowers and stuff like that. And then the guy down the road's got a Bentley. You're like, what in the actual shit is going on there?
To the property line across the street from the farm I work on, they own both sides of the road, and the property line across the street, we ride those trails every now and then, and there's this little tree house on the other side of the fence that's like, it's got to be a little meth tree house. But they've pushed
on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, but it's old as shit, and it's like running down, and half of it is leaned over into our side of the property. So now it's.
There's always like this weird haze coming out of it.
It smells funny.
It
smells like high school chemistry.
It does.
Dude, you remember those chemistry sets we used to get when we were kids? I don't think they make
No,
those
they're not
for
allowed
kids
to make
anymore.
them.
They can't make them.
They can make them. They just can't give them to kids.
Yeah.
Look, I grew up with yard darts. You
Yeah,
remember lawn darts?
We still had lawn darts at my grandmother's house
Oh,
when
my
I was
God.
growing up.
It's a great idea.
That was fun.
Take
I
this
saw some-
3-pound dart, throw it in the air, and run.
Yeah.
You're supposed to land it in the circle. Yeah, that ain't happening.
Yeah, that-
Let's whip it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Everybody run.
How long has this place been here, Hampton?
This building,
No, not this building. This
Pi 95.
Pi 95.
Pi 95, I believe that they just surpassed their 2-year. I think they just hit their 2-year mark.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure last weekend or maybe the weekend before, maybe this one upcoming. I know it's right here in 2 years.
It looks like they have the neighborhood clientele, which is good, because I saw some people coming in just to get to-go orders coming through the back right here.
Yep. And they, and this is, so this strip, King Street, at night, back in the day, you were out here with me on Saturdays and Sundays sometimes, and it gets highly congested with foot traffic.
Yeah.
And this place on a Friday night, they'll have a line of people, and they'll be full
I love
steam.
it, man. See, that's what I like, the places that have longevity. I mean, that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for good places like this place, Pi 95, with all their good stuff. The carnivore pizza was awesome.
Yep.
The meatballs are awesome. John ate 3/4 of one.
He left another 3/4 of one.
Somebody else's.
That's yours
Here.
right there.
No, get out of here.
That's
I'm eating it.
Hampton's. Hampton's taking that.
You want
one.
some of this pizza too?
Yeah, you want some of that white pizza?
Oh, yeah, thank
The
you.
Bianca.
I'm not
We also got
like
Bianca.
I've been anti-carb, but I haven't had carbs in a couple of days.
Yeah, well,
so.
you're on.
Except for the PBR.
You're on Alastair Eats Food, the podcast. So you
I
have
never
to
turned
eat.
down good pizza.
Yeah, you have to eat carbs today. I
never turned down.
I'm not going to drink alcohol with you, but you've got to eat carbs with me.
Yeah, no worries. And I've been meaning to try this one, but like I said, I always go. I know my lane.
Yeah.
Because the dough, the sauce, it's so good.
Yeah,
So.
it's that.
Can we get him a Warhammer though? Still,
Yeah,
I'm on the Warhammer thing.
We're definitely going to get him the Warhammer. But like Chip Richard was my first guest in the first episode. He's the head chef at Caps down there in the water.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, he's just a great dude. He's humble as can be, and also
badass.
willing to take you and show you the shit. And he's like me. He likes the ambiance to kind of match the soul of the food. So he likes to take me to places that. He's going to be a recurring guest, I'm sure. And then we'll have, like I said, John will be there most of the time because he travels with me and does all that shiz. And then you got, you, my brother Shane probably will make his way on there because he travels with us sometimes. Brian Albertson, the guy that does all of our artwork, he's already showed
Dude,
interest.
he's done that stuff's dope.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
It's
he
so
kills
good.
it, dude. He
Awesome.
kills
Yeah.
it, man. He used to do it for the band back in the day, and then it got to the point where we were doing, like, around the COVID times, we were doing so many, like, bar restaurant kind of gigs just to stay afloat.
Makes sense.
And, yeah, we couldn't do 5 posters a week for random local places.
Right, yeah.
So we kind of lost track of it, and then I raised the minimum for the band again, which creates, bigger shows that pay more, but just we're not playing as much. And what that does is make it so we can bring posters and all that fun shit back again.
I want some Pi 95.
Oh, she wants some Pi 95.
Margarita,
You want the margarita pizza?
solid.
That's got chicken on it?
No, it's just It's just kick-ass pizza and sauce with some fresh basil, fresh mozzarella.
What you think, baby? That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? What you think, girl?
Well, I don't know. Their pepperoni look pretty fire.
Yeah.
You just want to get pepperoni? Yeah, let me go put it. That'll be easy for me. Let me go
Yeah,
put
go
a
put that
pepperoni.
in.
All right, love that.
But yeah, that's. But I was thinking, because of this street, it all happened on the corner of King and Post, where we actually became friends.
Yeah.
That and at some point during this whole podcast thing, that should probably come to the forefront as why I'm even sitting here at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a great relationship. You're one of the people that during the COVID situation decided to find the loophole to make it so you could have live music, which was you got to serve food and you got to serve to-go food and all that bullshit. And he got himself a hot dog machine and the license to sell food and made it so we could start playing there at the time it was Brews, Riverside.
Yeah, and nobody else was really able to do anything.
No, nobody was doing anything. And the only other thing we had a couple things going on that were all outside, like Clark's.
Yeah.
Clark's was selling to-go food, and then they made that beach area for us to play on that beach area.
Unfortunately, it's not there anymore.
Yes, unfortunately, Clark's is in limbo right now. But but what happened was we would play on the beach, and the people could get their to-go food and bring it to the beach to eat and hang out, and then they would keep ordering drinks and keep doing it. So restaurant doesn't go out of business, band gets paid, everybody's doing it for everybody. It's a big vicious circle,
People have a good time.
I'm sorry that you came and broke your diet today.
No. I'm fine with it, man. I had a pork chop and 3 scrambled eggs today. I've made room for made room for some pizza, man. And look, I had 2 slices, and we got to walk all the way back to the other end of King's.
We got to walk to the bar. We got to walk to the bar for him.
We got to go say goodnight to Miss Selena, otherwise I will be remiss in my visit.
We got to smoke a joint too.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Well, thank you again, Hampton. Thank you, John. Love you guys. Y'all do it up.
Glad to be here.
King Street, High 95.
Shout out to Evan and the Boots.
You